Apollo Sports Capital, a subsidiary of NYSE-listed Apollo Global Management, provides capital solutions across the global sports and live events ecosystem. The firm recently made headlines when it published a white paper saying there's a $2.5 trillion opportunity that exists in the business of sports. Well, joining me now with more is Sam Porter, Apollo Sports Capital's Chief Strategy Officer. Sam, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. $2.5 trillion.
Yes.
That's a massive opportunity. How have you seen the growth explode in recent years?
Well, if you look at sports as an asset class, you're seeing investment from high net worth individuals, institutional investors, and basically money in all shapes and sizes going into the space. And what we've seen in the space is it's scarcity in terms of franchises and leagues, and then durability in terms of the media rights and the way that the business of sports is able to access consumers from a variety of different angles: match day, media rights, and sponsorship.
Let's talk about media rights. The NFL is in the middle of a media rights deal worth more than $110 billion. What has led to the rising value in these sports media rights over the past few years?
Well, I think you can attribute that to the fact that live sports are something that you have to engage with and watch as they happen, right? Live sports. And everything else, for the most part, you can watch on Netflix or stream it or DVR it or however you want to consume it. And when it comes to live sports, you're watching them in the moment to see what happens. And that is something that really captures people on a day-to-day basis, leading to advertisers knowing that if you buy ad time during an NFL game, you are going to have a lot of people watching those games. And if you look at the top 100 broadcasts in the U.S. in any given year, 90 plus of those broadcasts are NFL games. So they're getting a premium for their content.
Yeah. So sticking with the NFL, we've seen the valuation of the franchises just absolutely soar. What's the biggest driver for this?
I think the biggest driver is the fact that the revenues of the teams are durable and long-term, and they're not going anywhere. These teams can last for hundreds of years, and they are scarce. So they're not making new NFL teams. They're not making new NBA teams. The teams that exist are the teams that exist, so there's scarcity with an upside balance sheet in terms of revenue generation and business growth.
Let's talk more about private equity, of course, in sports. For example, the New England Patriots. Recently, we see here the latest team to add investors in 2025. How is institutional capital changing the game of sports?
I think institutional capital changes the game because in the past you would have minority investors, limited partners who would come in, and typically they would be from high net worth individuals, families. Now institutional investors come in and maybe they have a longer horizon in terms of their investment. So the controlling owner, the majority owner, or general partner feels like, hey, now I've got a partner who brings capital to the table, can be here for the long haul, and can also provide me with other advantages in terms of what they can bring from partners and existing portfolio companies.
How resilient is sports as an investment?
I think it's one of the most resilient things, because if you look at during the pandemic, things were shut down. You couldn't even have live sports. But one of the first things that people were clamoring for to come back, if you remember, the NBA played a season in a bubble, and people really engaged with that and went through it. And if something like that doesn't really stifle sports, then I think you just see how resilient sports is as an asset class because of what it means to people. People really connect with sports and bond over it, and it's truly part of the social fabric globally.
Yeah, I remember the bubble.
You remember the bubble.
Okay, so what types of financing opportunities do you see around sports?
So we're looking at basically every kind of opportunity there is, from direct equity investment into lending around stadiums, ancillary development around stadiums, and then like highly structured situations where perhaps somebody's owned a team for a long time, they have a much lower valuation, now the team's worth a lot more, and maybe they're looking for some liquidity. Sports is probably the least levered asset class there is, so we're always looking at what can make sense there. So if you look at the deals that we've done since we launched Apollo Sports Capital, we made an equity investment into Atletico Madrid, a very large club in Spain. We made a hybrid investment into Wrexham, which was some debt for them to build their stadium and surrounding area, and some equity because we want to take that journey with them. And then we've made an investment into Ari Emanuel's Mari Events Company, which is doing a ton of different stuff in terms of live events. So really, there's a lot of different flavors that we can provide into the asset class.
And Apollo Sports Capital was formed this past fall, so already some big action that you're taking there. How are you trying to take advantage of the trends that you're seeing in the space that was uncovered in your white paper?
I mean, a lot of what I just mentioned, I mean, taking advantage of the trends is having conversations with the important stakeholders. So the leagues directly, the media rights companies, the owners, and seeing what do they need from a capital solution standpoint. So we want to be flexible, we want to be long-term, and we want to be partners. So even when we're lending into the space, we want to be partners with the borrowers because we want to help them use the money to grow the business and continue the growth that we've seen. So it's really not a following trend as much as it is finding the right fit for capital at any given time.
What's your expectation for 2026?
I think we'll do a lot of deals. I think I haven't seen any cooling in the space, and I'm seeing more investment. I'm seeing more development. I see a lot of groups that want to take their stadium and make it an entertainment zone globally. We're doing that with Atletico Madrid there, but I'm seeing it across, with groups that we're talking to across the U.S. and increasingly in Europe, which hadn't been previously doing developments like that.
All right, Sam Porter, Apollo Sports Capital Chief Strategy Officer, dropping the 2026 outlook for us here at the New York Stock Exchange.
Thanks so much.
Sam, thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
Great
Take
to
care.
have you.